Esther chapter 8. On that day, King Artaxerxes gave Esther everything belonging to Haman the accuser, and Mordecai was summoned before the king, because Esther made known his relationship to her. The king then took the signet ring he had taken from Haman and gave it to Mordecai. Then Esther appointed Mordecai over everything that belonged to Haman. Again, she fell down at the feet of the king, and she implored him to remove all the evils Haman had done to the Jews. Then the king held out his golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood beside the king and said, "If it seems good to you, and I have found favor, let a letter be sent out to revoke the letters sent out by Haman, which were written to annihilate all the Jews in your kingdom. For how can I be able to look upon the oppression of my people? How will I endure the destruction of my countrymen?" Then the king said to Esther, "Since I granted you everything that belonged to Haman, and hung him from the gallows because he laid hands on the Jews, what else do you want? Write it yourselves in my name, as it seems good to you, and seal it with my ring. For whatever is written by command of the king and sealed with my ring cannot be revoked." So the scribes were summoned in the first month, which is Nisan, on the 23rd day of that same year. For whatever was ordered was written to the Jews, to the local governors, and to the chiefs of the satraps, from India as far as Ethiopia, 127 provinces, to every place according to their own language. So it was written by the authority of the king and sealed with his ring, and the letters were dispatched by couriers. As he commanded by these letters, the Jews were to exercise their own laws in every city, to be of help to each other, and to treat their adversaries and those opposing them as they wished. This was to take effect beginning on one day throughout all the kingdom of Artaxerxes, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is Adar. The following is a copy of the letter. The great King Artaxerxes, to the governors of the provinces in the 127 satrapies, from India to Ethiopia, and to the faithful to our interests, greetings. Many of those who have been frequently honored in the great kindness of their benefactors have become high-minded. Not only do they seek to do harm to our subjects, but being unable to bear such a measure, they undertake to plot against their own benefactors. Not only do they drive out gratitude from among men, but also being puffed up by those who are unacquainted with goodness, they suppose they will escape the vengeance of the all-seeing God. And often many of those who have been appointed to positions of authority, being entrusted to manage the affairs of friends, and having been given a position of authority as an encouragement, have become accessories to the shedding of innocent blood. And they have involved them in circumstances without remedy by deceiving with false arguments the benign kindness of the rulers. And it is possible to observe this, not so much from examining the ancient traditions as by your learning from the wicked deeds accomplished in your midst by the pestilential influence of those unworthy of holding power. We must be on guard for the future, that we maintain the kingdom undisturbed and peaceful for all the people, making the most of changes and always judging fairly in the matters coming to our attention. Thus Haman, the son of Hammedatha, a Macedonian, certainly not of Persian blood, but differing greatly from our kindness, and having been hospitably received by us, received such a large share of the benevolence which we have for all the peoples, that he was even publicly proclaimed to be our father, reverenced by all. He attained the rank of second to the royal throne, but, unable to bear his dignity, He endeavored to deprive us of our kingdom and our life, and by very twisted methods of deception, he demanded the destruction of our deliverer and constant benefactor, Mordecai, and Esther, the blameless consort of our kingdom, together with their whole race. For through these ways, he expected to catch the nation of the Persians undefended and to guide the Macedonians to victory. However, we find that the Jews who have been consigned to destruction by this terribly wicked man are not criminals, but live by most just laws. We find them to be children of the Most High, most mighty, living God, who has guided the kingdom both for us and our forefathers in this most excellent manner. Therefore, you will do well to disregard the letters sent by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, because he who has produced these has been hanged at the gates of Susa, along with his whole household. For God Almighty, who rules over all things, swiftly rendered a just judgment on him. Therefore, post a copy of this document publicly in every place, making it known that the Jews are to follow their own customs and join in supporting them, so that on the day set for their destruction, the 13th day of the 12th month, Adar, they may defend themselves against those who would attack them. For God, who holds power over all things, has made this a day of gladness for them instead of a day of the destruction of a chosen race. Therefore, celebrate this outstanding day among your named feasts with all rejoicing, so that both now and in the future it may be deliverance for us and for the well-inclined Persians, and for those who plot destruction against us, a remembrance of destruction. And every city or province whatsoever which shall not act in accordance with these things shall be mercilessly destroyed with spear and fire. It shall be made impassable, not only to men, but even to wild animals and birds forever. Let copies of the decree be posted conspicuously throughout the kingdom, and let all the Jews be ready on that day to fight against those who oppose them. So, horsemen were sent out quickly to carry out the king's commands, and the decree was also posted in Susa. Then Mordecai went out robed in royal raiment, having a gold crown and a diadem of fine purple linen. And seeing him, the people of Susa rejoiced. And there was light and gladness for the Jews in every city and province where the decree was published, where the proclamation was posted. There was joy and gladness among the Jews, feasting and good cheer. And many of the Gentiles were circumcised and lived in the Jewish way because of fear of the Jews.